Just before I began recording this video and editing it, Variety came out with an article saying Jonathan Majors has evidence, video evidence inside the taxi to free him of his name. I did this entire video before knowing that, so just watch this for entertainment purposes. Enjoy. You're watching my favorite YouTube channel. I'm Chillmonger. I'm going to give a step-by-step breakdown and analysis on my opinion on each event as it happened. There are two articles I'm going through. One of them is going to be the TMZ article, and the second is from We Got This Covered. They have less of a reputation, but you're going to notice something quickly as soon as I start reading them. First, let's go to TMZ. The headline reads, Jonathan Majors arrested in NYC for assaulting woman. Representative says he's done nothing wrong. This story has been updated a couple times. I'll start reading it in order that they updated it, because this is the way TMZ intends for us to read. At 5:30 a.m. in the morning Pacific time today, they say that a judge released Majors without bail at his Saturday night arraignment in Manhattan Criminal Court. Prosecutors charged the actor with misdemeanor assault, aggravated harassment, attempted assault, and harassment. My take on the harassment is just, it's still open. I prefer, now I sound evil. I am more satisfied with the description of events when they are strangling, when they're assaults, when they're more pinpointed, what's the word, specific to the crimes. When you say he harassed somebody, and we find out later that it's his girlfriend, I don't know, there's a lot of open to interpretation. Majors is due back in court in May. Fine. When we hear that he's due back in court in May, does this mean that Marvel Studios have until May to decide, hey, let's let the due process plan out? We can make a plan B of what we should do with our movie that's called Kang Dynasty. We can make a plan on what we're doing with our major antagonists for the next, I guess, 2 phases of movies, which is about 10 movies. We can make that decision in May, depending on what happens in court. Let's let the evidence play out. I feel like that's the smart thing to do. There's no need to act immediately on an emotional and on a limited amount of information. Recast T'Challa. At 4:44 p.m. it says here, here's what allegedly happened in the lead up to this. So this was the first update that they posted. Per our law enforcement sources, police were told that the alleged victim is Major's girlfriend. I'm going to go with this is his girlfriend. And her name isn't Chelsea. They were in the Chelsea district of Brooklyn, okay? Or Manhattan, or one of those. It was not her name. I'm going with girlfriend until proven otherwise. Maybe she believed she was the girlfriend. Maybe she told the police, I'm his girlfriend. But he's like, no, you're my New York. I have an LA as well. I'm joking. But it's kind of possible if you think about it. And according to her, they got into an argument while in a taxi returning home from a bar in Brooklyn. What do we know about taxis? There's a driver. And now if there's a driver who can attest to this, she is protected. She is brave for speaking out against something that happened to her rather than keeping her mouth shut. She's protecting people in the future, women that he's going to date or not be his girlfriend or whatever it is. She is a preventative part of the machine that heals the world and makes it better. If Jonathan Majors did indeed do this and he has a behavior of doing this, maybe her speaking out at the very least makes him second guess, oh, I guess I'm not invincible. Maybe I can't put my hands on women, this and that. If she's telling the truth and she's not just, I guess, getting the most out of a breakup or whatever other scenario that could possibly be happening. So they're returning from a bar in Brooklyn. What happens in a taxi? There's a taxi driver. What happens in bars? There's drinking. Drinking is never an excuse, but it's an explanation for wild things happening. Oh, well, he was drunk. Okay. You can do a crime, but you find out the guy was drunk, the time that you serve or the punishment that you get is always lesser because of the drinking. Oh, well, he wasn't in his right state of mind. Okay. Now, if they were drinking also, can't we say her judgment is in question? Her ability to guess, to retell what happened, her, I guess, tendencies to hit someone as well, you know, couldn't that also be compromised? Our sources say police were told the girlfriend saw another man texting Majors and she confronted him. This was in the taxi. So when you say she confronted him, confronting seems like a word what you do when you're on the street, you walk up to somebody. But if you were in a taxi As it happens, dude is on his phone, gets texted, and you confront him, trying to sneak a peek at his phone. We're told the alleged victim slash girlfriend claims that this got Majors mad, and that he allegedly grabbed her hand. Okay. And allegedly slapped her. So he lets her inside the car on the right side of the car because they are in New York, not where they drive on the opposite side. Gentleman lets her in, walks to the left side where he's right behind the driver. Alright, sits down. During the drive, a phone text comes. Doo-doo-doo, Rebecca. She looks over, tries to sneak a peek, and immediately when she does that, he just grabs her hand, boom, slaps her as well, and that's supposed to be believed. She does feel like she's leaving out stuff if this scenario really did happen. I would assume, I guess, that she was more aggressive in trying to find out, with all the drinks flowing. Who's Rebecca? Whoa, pushing him and trying to do the best before he allegedly, if he did even, grab the arm, before he allegedly slapped her as well. I don't think that she just, I wonder what's happening on your side of the phone. I could imagine that when the taxi driver, if he ever, speaks out against this, that his telling of the story will be more so, nah, the girlfriend was being very, it wasn't his first decision to grab her, to slap her, if he even did that. And it's obviously not okay that he did that. If he did that, I'm not okaying it. I think that a guy who slaps, I've never done it. I'm trying to say here, don't do it. Nobody slap women. That's just not the thing to do. Leave, separate yourselves. And when we follow the story, we might actually hear that he did do that. We are also told the alleged victim claims he put his hands around her neck during this. So that's the third thing that he did. Slap. Oh, he grabs her, he slaps her, and he has his hands around her neck. There's a driver this entire time. That's starting to become hard to believe for me, or an extremely dangerous situation that she is a survivor of. Either or. And he's just a menace. Our sources say the woman was dropped off somewhere and that JM, Jonathan Majors, spent the night elsewhere. Here's the thing. That's a very mature thing to do. If you're a man in a situation, on a date, or if you're anyone, and your loved one or your partner there is acting out. Okay, hey, we're just gonna not be in the same place. Driver, drop her off over here. I'm not about to catch a charge. I'm not about to further this. I don't want things to progress. You're going to get dropped off and I'm going to go somewhere else. Bro, that is what heroes do. Assuming he's not an evil guy who puts his hands on women. But that's what you do. You say, not going the other way. I'm avoiding all this. I'm breaking up with her. I'm stopping my relationship with her at all. That's what you do. And he did that at nighttime, or rather it would be early in the morning, I guess, right after the drinks in Brooklyn. It appears the girlfriend went to police the following morning and reported a crime, which makes me go, it took you a whole morning to do the reporting of the crime. Why not at the time of? What took so long? Was it a realization that you stopped milking this man for everything he has and you're not getting anything anymore? Let me get some money out of this at least, because it doesn't looks like he's getting texts from other girlies. It looks like he's done with me. I was never that serious to him. It looks like I was rough and he doesn't want to be with me anymore because he dropped me off somewhere. And it's been clear, maybe there were text messages exchanged too, but it's clear now that Jonathan Majors is not going to be part of my life. Well, this is the last thing I can do now, the next day, is report this crime. When you report this crime a day later as opposed to at the moment it was happening, that adds more doubt. The shroud of mystery. There's more doubt that she's being legitimate. To me, to Chillmonger. Jonathan Majors was arrested in New York City. Oh, so this is the actual article that they released the first time? Let's read it. In New York City this weekend. And according to the police, he's been accused of putting hands on a woman. Again, according to police, he's been accused. Not the police said he did it. According to police, he's been accused. But John's team is calling BS. Law enforcement sources tell us the actor was booked Saturday morning on charges of strangulation at 11:14 a.m. So the charges were strangulation, assault, and harassment. These are three things that I think strangulation is the strongest of. It's more specific. The assault could mean anything. A slap is assault. A punch is assault. A kick is assault. There's levels to the potential possible striking, and I will not catch all term assault. I don't want to compare all of them that way. And harassment is just, I don't know, you made fun of the way she dressed, you were being harassed, right? Harassment isn't as big. I feel like the other two mean more to me. We're told cops responded to a call for service around 11 near the Chelsea neighborhood of Manhattan. The cops were called. I get it. Alright, let's take race out of it. Assuming that the cops are all noble people who just protect and serve, and they had enough information to arrest this guy, and take race out of it. I'm not talking about the cops, I'm also talking about the woman who's alleged the girlfriend. No idea who she is. I don't know her name. The police had enough evidence to go and get Jonathan Majors. That's a bad look. Assuming we live in a fair world where Jonathan Majors and people who look like him aren't more susceptible to a stronger, harsher treatments or no benefit of the doubt. You know, a whole day later, they still had enough evidence. I don't know if they had fingernail evidence. I don't know if they had text messages. Who knows? Maybe Jonathan Majors texted, "I'm sorry." Ooh, that's a big admission of guilt. She could have showed them, look what he said, look what he said. He said it right there. He said, "I'm sorry," and then he put his hands on me. We don't know. I don't know. And I also don't know if the woman herself was like, "Hey, let me get my next door neighbor to try hurting me," or done it herself possibly, just so there's markings there. I don't know. We're told the alleged victim, in this case is female, relayed to the police that Majors had gotten into a dispute with her and proceeded to attack her. Was it over the phone stuff though? I think we're still talking about the phone stuff. Their exact relationship is unknown. Well, up there they're going to call her a girlfriend in the update. Our sources tell us the alleged victim has visible injuries. Good reporting. They're not saying that Jonathan Majors put these injuries on her, but for her to have visible injuries, and remember what I said about race? If someone's white, like Caucasian people, the injuries are more visible than someone with darker skin. Including a laceration behind her ear. Okay. Redness and marks to her face. Okay, it was a day later, yeah. She was taken to an area hospital and is in stable condition. Well, you gotta go to the hospital. You have to commit to the bit if you're lying. And you gotta make sure that you were, you know what I mean? Fine. I also believe forensic and evidence can be gained at a hospital, I think. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's something that you just do. I'm not wowed by that, or ooh, she had to go to the hospital. It's all good. It's all standard. As for Majors, ... he was cuffed and taken to jail on the spot. Yikes. They did this to him on the spot. Of course, like I said, take race out of it. That's bad. That does, like, the cops were like, "Oh yeah, we got a phone call from someone who's not even with you right now, who told us you did this, and we believed that person so much that Majors was cuffed on the spot." That doesn't look good. However, racism, and then you go, well, you know, who knows? As the police felt there was enough evidence for probable cause. Damn. We're hearing he is currently out of custody, which is, you know, that's something too. Enough to be arrested because there's evidence of probable cause, but also currently in custody until like 5 a.m. when he's out of custody. 5 a.m. Pacific is 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in New York City. So he's out at 8 in the morning. See, you see how like he's out already? Okay, then maybe the evidence wasn't so abundant for you to be free a little bit later. So that's a good sign if Majors didn't do it. Majors is a huge celeb these days. He's been in everything from Marvel's latest Ant-Man to Michael B. Jordan's Creed 3 flick. Everyone keep in mind how much times they will refer to him in all your articles and tweets as the Creed star rather than the Marvel star, which is a much more bigger franchise. He was the antagonist in that movie. There's an Avengers movie called Kang coming up, and for some reason people are seeming to go by, he's the Creed star. You know? That man did make more money. I'm just saying. Notice how they want to use the black franchise. Okay. Creed 3 flick and other blockbusters as well over the past couple years. The guy has gotten rave reviews for his performances and is seen as a rising star. He was even at the Oscars a few weeks ago and amongst many of the presenters. And it says, a rep for Majors tells TMZ, he's done nothing wrong. Stop right there. Not he didn't put his hands on her. Not he doesn't know who this woman is. Not like there's a lot more freeing wording you could use. More like better, but he's done nothing wrong. Could mean, well, yes, he did put his hands on her, but it was to defend himself from and prevent something from happening. So he's done nothing wrong. I would have preferred to hear, I would have liked to hear, as a person who wants to know Jonathan Majors is not guilty of these things. I would want for the statement not to be, he's done nothing wrong, but more like, Jonathan Majors has never put his hands on this woman. Jonathan Majors is a victim, or more freeing words that alleviate him of guilt, of wrongdoing. But just, he's done nothing wrong. You feel me? We look forward to clearing his name and clearing this up. The next article I gotta show you is We Got This Covered. Filmmakers speak out on sociopath Jonathan Majors and his vicious, cruel, abusive nature following arrest. This is where we get in the mud. This is not... There's a reputation of We Got This Covered, and it's not that of TMZ or Variety. These guys are... They're doing some journalism I value for the sake of this video, and you'll see what I mean. Because we get into the tweets, and the allegations pile up. First, up until yesterday, Majors was riding the crest of wave as one of the biggest breakout stars in the industry in years, blah blah blah. Here, the filmmaker A.B. Allen revealed the Lovecraft Country alum, they had to throw in another one of his movies, his TV shows, was the unnamed figure behind a tweet that was initially posted back in February. So back in February, right here you can see it says February 14th on the tweet, there's a particular actor, relatively new on the scene, who Twitter has violently fallen head over heels for, who in actuality is a vicious, cruel, abusive human being, both professionally and in his personal life, and every new viral thirst tweet about him drives me insane. Bruh, that news back in February when the movie Ant-Man came out in February, the magazines came out in February. He is talking about Jonathan Majors. This is A.B. Allen is not retroactively being like, yeah, I was talking about him the whole time. And then he quote tweets that today and goes, ding, ding, ding. He's talking about that. All right, A.B. Allen, I see. I like how A.B. Allen's tweet isn't something coming out of the woodworks now that Jonathan Majors is being in the spotlight. I like how dude was talking about Majors without saying his name. He's talking about Majors a long time ago. This isn't like, oh, let's get him now. We can just allege that he was this bad. I feel like the tweet here that he did in February was enough for me to know he's talking about Majors. He was definitely speaking on that. Now, why protect Majors? Possibly because you don't want to let the victims be known. You know, the victims want to keep it hush hush. You don't want to out the victims. They don't want to have them live with the... even though it's not their fault, allegedly, it's not their fault that any of this happened to them. They have to deal with it. They got to be the guy that, or the girl that Majors assaulted, harassed, professionally and in his personal life. A.B. Allen replies and says, if it had happened to me or I had seen it directly, I would have. But the people had abused, mistreated, chose to stay silent. Perhaps for their own safety, it is not my role to out what he did and thereby to out them without their consent. That's valid. I respect that. The specifics of what I know, unfortunately, would still expose people who have been hurt and deserve to not become part of some larger media inquiry if they don't want to. So I'm not going to get into the details, but now y'all know what his deal is. So... And then Oscar says to him, I'm really sorry you had to go through it, man. I can't imagine it would have been easy. Here's hoping we see justice done real soon. This is actually all happening much more quickly and catastrophically than I would have guessed. But to really... he's living in New York. He's living in a bubble. It's not that major. Major. Nothing's really happened yet. There have been no consequences. There's not enough details out. Marvel hasn't acted. So it's not as catastrophical yet, if it even gets there. I can't do another press tour of Small Beans Jonathan Majors for Avengers 8 or whatever. It'll be Avengers 6, okay, pal? Or whatever. Feels like it's over for him. Fingers crossed. Damn. Let's keep reading what other people said. However, Allen's explosive revelations were nothing compared to what the Society Theater co-founder and Broadway veteran Tim Nicolai had to say. even if the actor and director had since deleted his own posts where he claimed that Majors is a... So this is a deleted post, but we got this covered. They don't care. They'll just put it in text. A sociopath and abuser, and that is how virtually everyone speaks about him. It's a shame it took this long for him to be reported. That's Tim Nicolai, a guy who deleted his tweets, a guy who's saying things now but wasn't saying things then, but also the Society Theater co-founder. Did dude work with Jonathan Majors? Is there a history of that? I don't know. I think if We Got This Covered knew that, they would have said so. They would have said, if they're not really journalists, but they would have been able to tie these two together and tell us that Majors at one point of his career was associated with Tim Nicolai, and he's not speaking on a stranger. After being questioned as to why he too had remained silent, Nicolai offered that the story ultimately needed a victim to come forward. It's both simultaneously awful to know he is still doing this, and also a relief that he may never get to again. It could get that bad. This could be the final movie that he's a part of, the Avengers Kang Dynasty film. It hasn't begun filming, and they can just pivot away. They can say, well, they're not really feeling it because Quantumania didn't make money. They're not feeling the storyline. We don't even need to do the Avengers Kang stuff. Bring in the X-Men. Okay, I'm starting to want Jonathan Majors to have been guilty. That's a joke. I like the X-Men, and I'm joking that I would want a man to do that to get the X-Men. I don't really want that man to get that, for me to get my X-Men. A bunch of us are close with people, and sometimes multiple people he has directly harmed. So this guy's alleging multiple people have directly harmed him. I think about now is when those multiple people say, me too, he hurt me too. And they show a couple photos of them, and it's, oh, I'm the girlfriend of Jonathan Majors in 2020, me too. Or, other ways to prove it for Chill to believe it. Not just one photo, multiple photos. There's a lot that can happen here. There's a lot that can take place in the court of public opinion that doesn't actually need to take... they can have enough evidence, I can at least, before his day in court, where I can go, you know what, Majors? Not my guy. It's possible. I don't need the court. I didn't need the court to side with Amber Heard or Johnny Depp. I saw the video of her saying, was the jury going to believe you? Or, I didn't hit you, I punched you. Or, I didn't punch you, I hit you. It wasn't a deck. Remember all that stuff? I didn't need that to go to court. I knew who was right and who was wrong, at least. Or at least I know who was wrong. It's also possible Johnny Depp was putting hands on her. This just never was caught. Okay, I don't know if they will speak on it. It is completely their decision, okay? Nicolai had since made his Twitter page private. I noticed that. No doubt due to the explosive nature of the since deleted tweets. He had additionally noted that literally people, Majors, did this to, are texting me right now. It's not I heard. So the people, allegedly, according to Tim Nicolai, how valid is this guy? How much of a shit disturber is he? He's also a dude in the industry, so maybe, industry people are warped and I don't really trust, love. He's saying that people are texting him, the people who did this, who had this done to them, the women who are victims of Jonathan Majors. Multiple, he says. Multiple means two can be multiple. So according to Tim Nicolai, it's not only the girlfriend in the taxi. There are at least two more, maybe three or four, but there's at least two more. There's three women that Majors has a pattern of, allegedly, putting hands on, being awful to. You can convince me that Jonathan Majors should no longer be associated with Marvel because of the way he is. And he got caught. He didn't come out speaking about how he was bad back in the days and what. And we're open for discussion. If you can give me a Liam Neeson type, this is what happened years ago and how I felt and my mentality, I know it's wrong now. And if you can do that before anyone even catches you, that's different. But if it's like this, allegedly, you got booked, it's different. Majors shouldn't be part of Marvel according to Marvel standards. Hey, they got rid of Johnny Depp for Pirates of the Caribbean with way less. And Warner Brothers got rid of him for the Fantastic Beasts Wizarding World franchise. They also got rid of James Gunn, but then got back James Gunn because I think that the actors all put their stand and said, we're not doing a Guardians 3 unless he's directing it. Do they recast or do they just cancel the Kang story? Because they made all of the variants of Kang look like Jonathan Majors at the post-credit scene of Quantumania. As of yet, neither Majors or his representatives have responded on the further accusations being leveled. Never respond, Majors. Never talk about that stuff. No comments, your heart out. Even if you did it, even if you didn't do it, there's no help. You are much more powerful when the jury who are going to be judging you get all the information revealed to them that day in court, rather than telling everyone about it now just to clear your name in the public opinion, and then have, because you lost your job anyways, right? Having everyone could think you're not a bad guy now, just so that the opposition can create new stories to counter, the evidence that you have. Because you may have texts of her saying, I'm sorry I hit you, I'm sorry I accused you, I'm sorry. That might be in Jonathan Majors' phone right now, which is a good look for Jonathan Majors. You don't gotta say, hey fans, look, check out my phone. These are the screenshotted messages from her. Because what they'll have is like, oh yeah, he's just, okay, let's get a backup story. Let's get another accuser that says that they were in the car also. Let's get another to cover up for that. You don't wait it out. Shut your mouth. No comments to your heart's content. But we got this covered, has reached out for comments, and we'll update accordingly. Hey, we got this covered. And then they said National Domestic Violence Hotline if you need that. If I'm Marvel, I don't do a single thing. I don't have to do anything. Let this movie play out. Don't take it out of theaters. That's stupid. Let the entire film run, make its money, and when Ant-Man's out, and you can, sit down, wait till May, see what happens there. Don't even talk to Jonathan Majors. You don't need to sit him down and be like, so what actually happened? Don't even do that yet. There's no need for that. Eventually, you will have to. And then you'll think, do we want to go 3 years being associated with Jonathan Majors? For 3 years. And hope he doesn't while out. Do we want to hope that? Warner Brothers, if you ask them about Ezra Miller, and if they could go in a time machine, they probably would have told themselves, disassociate with Ezra now before you begin shooting Flash. In this major situation, Disney, do you want to go 3 years hoping Jonathan Majors doesn't strike or act this way, because it seems like it's a pattern behavior if we're to believe allegations? Can we risk it? That is where I leave the question. That's the major. That's the major news story here. Big news. Chillmonger, subscribe by clicking on that. Watch a couple other videos. I had a little chat with K-Dot on his channel about this same situation. Go see what he and Nerdman had to say about the topic.